Potential changes to Lebanon Street, State Road 39 continue to be a hot topic throughout our community. In episode 223 of the Love in Lebanon podcast, we sit down with Craig Parks. Craig is a Lebanon resident, but he's also the VP of Engineering at Avenew, the firm helping to plan for the future of the main artery through our town. He gives us his perspective as not only someone who lives here, but also someone who's done this before elsewhere. Episode 223 of the Love in Lebanon podcast starts now.
Welcome to the Love in Lebanon podcast, highlighting all the great things happening in Lebanon, Indiana. Have an idea for an episode? Send an email to loveinlebanon@lebanon.in.gov.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 223 of the Love in Lebanon podcast. Joe LePage here, the City of Lebanon Communications and Community Development Director. We've got an expert. We've got a guy that's going to help us understand some of the things that are going on State Road 39, Lebanon Street. Previous episodes, we've kind of talked with Mayor Gentry, and that was one of the big topics he wanted to address in his last podcast, was just kind of talking about that whole process as the relinquishment is now being negotiated between the city and the State of Indiana Department of Transportation. And so we've got Craig Parks. He's a Lebanon resident, but he's also the Vice President of Engineering for Avenew. Craig, thanks for being here on the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it. Providing some insight and being able to do this. You know, we've seen pictures online, everybody, chances are you have. Recently, there was an open house at the Herman B. Wells Center at Lebanon High School, kind of going through and getting the thoughts of everybody, talking about State Road 39/Lebanon Street. Craig, you were there?
Yes, we were there.
How did it go, and kind of what were some of the reactions you had from people?
I was pleasantly surprised that the turnout, you know, we were fighting the weather in the middle of the summer. You got the bright, sunny day. But we had several people that showed up to take it in and to provide us some input on their thoughts of the existing corridor. Ultimately, that's what we were wanting to do, is just continue the momentum from the survey that was taken, and try to just bolster some of that data and give residents a chance to come see us face to face. We still don't have any specific concepts we want. We are wanting to hear face to face. This first since Avenue's been involved. The survey happened pre-Avenew, so we wanted to take it in, kind of get a feel for where everybody stands and what they see as the problems. Ultimately, that's what we're trying to remedy is figure out how can we, if the city were to take this, we're trying to give some guidance to city officials to be able to make an informed decision of what do the residents see as the issues, which means then how much are you going to have to put into that corridor to bring it up to a level of service that the residents want. They what they want to see, and the solution, come up with solutions to the problems, the issues, the opportunities, capture the opportunities to improve the corridor if a relinquishment were to happen.
And so you guys had a number of different pictures and had huge printouts where people it was like 5 tables long.
Yeah,
at least.
It was actually 7 or 8. We helped set them all up. Yeah, and it was good just to be able to have everybody look over and then place. We had different colored dots that say, is there pedestrian issues, is there safety issues, is there congestion issues, and allow them to place it on that what we call the roll plot, that rolled out on those tables to then be able to say, this is an opportunity here and over here. We saw a lot for pedestrians. I was pleasantly surprised at how positive the input we got regarding the desires. It wasn't much just a bunch of complaining. It was, hey, how can we? This is a deficiency that we see in the corridor, and individuals pointing that out, piece by piece, every intersection, every drive coming on, different ideas that come about, and sometimes when engineers, it's easy for us just to get in there and just provide solutions. But I think taking a step back and actually understanding holistically what the problem is always the best way to approach it, so that then we can hopefully come up with some concepts that will benefit the community, and could be part of a relinquishment agreement.
And you're talking about the community of which we are both parts being here in Lebanon. But how important was it? I know you have your own thoughts, and I do too, and we'll kind of get to some of those in just a little bit. But how important was it to be able to have something like that, an open house, where people can come in, you can see face-to-face people and have their interactions, as opposed to just having the survey, which is a piece, and we talked about everybody. That's a survey that's still live, and you're still filling out. You're having your voice heard on that, and that's great to be able to have that online, but to be able to have that face-to-face piece, how important was that to have the residents? And I know Craig. Oh
yeah. I mean, I think for me, it's just important to be able to you put a person. It's not just a job, right? It becomes personal, and that's where, and I think residents, the users of these cores, want to be able to be heard. And so often you hear, "Hey, we're not heard," and us engineers go back in the back room, come up with an idea, and come back where this is and so it's nice to be able to put that face to face and hear. And sometimes it's just it's cool to hear the passion of the people, the real desires of this is really this. I've always thought this could be good here, and sometimes again it is easy for us to, and as a resident even it's easy to get used to just the way it is. And so that's why we had some of my coworkers here too, to be able to hear and filter through the non-resident, because it's so often I even get thinking locked into a way that, this could be improvement here because I know this stuff, but sometimes residents can point out something and another outside individuals can come in and provide some real good ideas to how to solve some deficiencies on that corridor.
And this has got to be unique and kind of fun for you too, I'm guessing too, because it's a project that you will live and drive almost on the daily, as opposed to some of these other projects you may be doing where it's in another community where it's done and you may not see it as frequently as the main thoroughfare through the community in which you live.
Yeah, it makes it personal. That's why, when I was the county engineer too, there's just such a, sometimes there's just to be able to work in your community, in the neighborhood that you live in, to be able to benefit that. It's special, and it's always fun to be able to have that opportunity, and be able to make change, and that I know for me, my family are going to be able to possibly be able to live and improve their lives too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Everybody, we're talking with Craig Parks. He is the Vice President of Engineering for Avenew, also a Lebanon resident. We're talking about relinquishment along State Road 39 and Lebanon Street. Now, talking relinquishment and your background, which we'll get into in just a little bit, and even right now, that this isn't your first relinquishment rodeo. You've done this before, and if you can kind of walk through the process. And again, everybody, if you haven't, you need the kind of a precursor of what this whole discussion has been like. Mayor Gentry was nice enough to kind of let us behind the curtain. The conversation between the city of Lebanon and NDOT is one that's ongoing, and we don't know when that agreement will be reached and things along those lines. But you, Craig, are with Avenew, and you guys are kind of at the table, or at least overhearing the things at the table going on with that, and you've been here before.
Yeah. I myself have. I assisted the city of Carmel many years ago when Keystone was U.S. or State Road 431 became Keystone Parkway, be able to transform that. But then we're lucky enough to, Avenew, we are established to help local communities break down barriers on projects. That's ultimately, we're not a design firm. We're not a contractor. We are simply here to be that bridge to be able to assist communication, collaboration, and again, just break down walls that may exist for municipalities and try to help those. So in this type of situation, we're lucky enough that our president and CEO is former NDOT commissioner, and our COO is deputy commissioner of NDOT. So they know it from that side. They've been through the relinquishment side on their side multiple times. So because of that, we've been in the local shoes. All of us have had local experience, whether it be working for a city or a county or and the state. And so we want to be able to make it so it's a win-win-win, right, situation for all of us, and it's not us against them. And I think that having that capability to be able to work through and again understand the needs of NDOT too in all this and the desires of them. For them, it's not just a one-sided Lebanon. Let's take this street over. It's a how can this benefit both NDOT and the city of Lebanon.
Yeah, you said it so well before we hit record, everybody. It was something along the lines of you want to have it to a certain standard and an understanding before the keys are tossed to the city of Lebanon Avenue and being able to have that done. It's not just a simple back and forth, all money. It is kind of a standard like you talked about.
Yeah, it's a matter of trying to come up with, even if it's not at that level, it's a understanding what's going to take, and that's part of the negotiation. Sometimes it's much easier for a municipality to do projects and to assemble projects and develop the project than it is for the state. And the state officials understand that too, because there's so many extra hoops that they have to go through. So the ultimate thing, the desire is to get it to a level of service, be able to understand what level of service the residents want and the city needs. Then put some type of a cost to that, and then maybe figure out a plan, a financial plan even, of assembling different types of dollars to be able to accomplish that goal where NDOT's able to give up the roadway, but then over years maybe be able to provide federal funds that they're able to get, and again, just making it so that then they understand the long-term gain as well, our game, and it's going to be a win-win. And that's the goal. And if not, then it doesn't happen. It stays as it is, and not
continues to maintain.
And they were there though too at this. That's at the open house. NDOT had individuals there, so they were hearing the residents' needs and desires for the corridor as well. So it was a great opportunity to partner with them this way too.
So not a foregone conclusion that the relinquishment will happen, but at least NDOT is like you mentioned at the table there, being able to hear from residents as well.
I mean, NDOT, when you think about it, they are not really set up to handle downtown streets, urbanized streets. They're able to do rural roadways. They're able to do interstates, clear them, maintain them, and that's usually ultimately what their focus ends up. They know they can't focus all their resources in smaller downtowns. So they understand that, and that's part of the reason why they came to the table, saying, "Hey, do you want to consider City of Lebanon? Do you want to consider maybe taking on State Road 39?"
I think that's why maybe it kind of resembles that 4-lane road kind of on the north side of State Road 39, Lebanon Street, kind of on the outskirts of town.
Yeah, on the north edge,
Yeah.
you're there, that 5-lane section, that very urbanized.
Built for speed almost type thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's NDOT is again their focus is on the number of miles, the number of lane miles that they have to clear, whether it be snow events or just preservation treatment. So being able to reduce their inventory and put it in the hands of individuals who are the closer users, right, is helpful for them too.
Gotcha. Folks, we're talking with Craig Parks. He is the Vice President of Engineering for Avenew here on episode 223 of the Lebanon podcast, talking about relinquishment, State Road 39 and Lebanon Street. Now, man of many hats, gonna have you take off the Avenew hat just for a sec and Lebanon resident hat. And so I remember when we first moved to town, had a couple of young kiddos who were learning to ride their bikes, and we lived near kind of the State Road 39, and we were on a narrow stretch trying to go to Dairy Queen, and I, as a dad, was so worried about a turn of a bicycle that might go into oncoming traffic. And I know that maybe you're, as you're listening, kind of in the same boat, everybody, or stopped at the stoplight and knowing that you've got to hustle across 4 lanes and then, your lane of egress, what is that called, in the middle? Yeah. And knowing that someone's hustling across to do that, or someone that is on the west side of the roadway, there is really no sidewalk, and so they're kind of walking in the grass or trying to stabilize themselves, and it's tough to see. It's tough to live. I'm guessing you've seen it as well, being a fellow Lebanon resident?
Yes, absolutely. I remember we lived in that same neighborhood, right? And being concerned with your kids, Yeah, don't cross 39. Don't go down to
Yep.
39. No, you can't go on your own. Even when they start driving, right? So my baby is 18 today. But when they start driving, you're even concerned with that portion right out in front of Walmart and Kroger. Just always, your head's always on a swivel, right? You're having to pay attention to so many different movements. And as a kid, not easily seen, and it is dangerous. So I definitely see the concerns. I've felt the concerns before as well, and again, I hope to be able to provide some type of realistic ideas, concepts to be able to be built and improve that, and so that then generations to come, my grandkids can be safe, right? As if they or choose to live here in Lebanon too.
And some of the conversations we've had, everybody talking about putting a park on the west side of town. There are people that kind of live near Harney Elementary, and it was like, well, Memorial Park isn't that far, but what we heard from residents was you have to cross 39, like dun dun dun, like it.
Yeah.
And we had before the great Seashore Water Park, all that renovation had taken place. Our kiddos wanted to leave the park and go across to Speedway to grab a little icy or something
Yep.
like that, and it's across 39 though. I mean, you have to kind of take that into account, and I'm hoping that this kind of maybe lessens that a little bit with whatever improvements are made somehow.
Yeah, you always got to think that is definitely one thing that came out of the open house was the amount of individuals saying we need this to be ped and bike friendly. That's not just adjacent to the roadway; it's crossing the roadway too, because it becomes a barrier to that type of movements. So being able to do that, yes, that would be a consideration, and that comes into the intersection types you decide, and some of the other features that you may put into a road project that isn't just simply beautification. Sometimes individuals hear about medians, and that's actually a safety refuge for pedestrians too, because it reduces your crosswalk length. And so there is large safety benefits to doing that as well. And so that will be consideration, whether it be signalized crossings or other unique type of mechanisms or engineered solutions to be able to have individuals cross the roadway with much more ease, much more safety in mind, so they can go from the water park to Speedway, right? So
Without having to risk life or limb. And some of the neighborhoods on the east side of the roadway, getting across to get to Kroger, to be able to get something and then get back. I mean, that is just, it is a literal game of Frogger for people. And you feel for them, especially those that can't kind of put a spring in their step as easily as they would like. That type
I've
of thing.
seen, actually, there's a friend of mine, she's confined in a wheelchair, right? And I've seen her crossing that roadway.
Say a little prayer, like going, oh man.
Yes, to go up to Kroger from across the street, and it's scary to see. So to be able to hopefully provide some type of alternatives that will take that into consideration would be good.
Yeah. And everybody, just a little bit behind the curtain, when we first moved to Lebanon, like 12 years ago or so, we lived in the same neighborhood, and we got a chance to get to know you and the family and everything. And I think your email address was Roundabout Geek, something along those lines. It still is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My handle, right?
And so that R word is very divisive in the community in which we reside. And there are two along Indianapolis Avenue. There's another one going to go on Lafayette Avenue. And when we put out the open house info or the survey info, again, divisive. That R word came out and about, and not necessarily a roundabout way, where people were very directly about it. But you are a fan.
I am very much a fan, because I've seen. I go back to my ultimate responsibility as a transportation engineer is to get people home safely, and I've seen firsthand the benefits of roundabouts, reducing the amount of crashes, the severity of crashes. You don't get fatalities in roundabouts. It's a 95% reduction in fatalities over a signalized intersection. Individuals think that a signal is safer, and really signals are less safe than any other intersection type simply because you are relying on the individuals that are crossing that roadway to be paying attention and to be a signal to stop them, where a roundabout provides a physical barrier. You feel less safe going into them. So when you feel less safe, you drive more cautious. But on top of that, it reduces the number of points where two vehicles can crash significantly. And the data, just statistics show that. I have been a big proponent of roundabouts. I'm on a national committee, or have been for 15 years or so, a roundabout committee for the Transportation Research Board, because I'm such an advocate. And Lebanon is not uncommon, where communities not embracing the roundabout. It's change. It's different, right? We don't want to be like Europe. We don't want to be like the East Coast, where we took all these out. Well, those were different. Those were rotaries, much higher speed intersections, and once roundabouts get into place, there seems to be a change in demeanor. I know we've had some on Indianapolis Avenue for quite some time, but it hasn't. That's it. 2 of them. Yeah. And so individuals can avoid them if they want. Where now, if you're putting them on a major corridor, they're face to face, have to embrace it. And I know a lot of individuals don't like to hear this, but Carmel. I worked for the city of Carmel way back when, in the late '90s, when they were installing their first 2 roundabouts, and it was very similar dynamic as what we have here in Lebanon. And now, if you were to try to put a signal in Carmel, you would get lynched. Right. Yeah, because they're like, well, why not a roundabout? And they have seen the benefits. The combination of roundabouts, especially where they've seen their crash statistics, have been phenomenal in Carmel. They're not alone, but to be able to see the combination of roundabouts and medians, those two, it's what we call access management from an engineering standpoint. To be able to put a median in, not allowing a left turn, that reduces the T-bone crash, which is the most deadly crash type, that 90-degree crash. So by putting in the combination of medians with roundabout nodes, that you can, instead of turning left, you can turn right and go around the roundabout and go the other direction, has improved safety of a corridor significantly. And roundabouts from a crossing standpoint as well, you're only having to cross, because there's built-in splitter islands or medians, you're only having to look one direction as you enter into the traffic, and then you have a refuge through that splitter island, and you look the other direction and you cross. So much safer for kids, for any pedestrian to be able to see. It's a lot. Again, it's less confusing, less things you have to be worrying about. You can focus on what you need to focus on. So.
Great perspective there. And please hear us, everybody. We're not saying, roundabouts are going to come to every intersection. As you heard Craig talking about, it is not a foregone conclusion that NDOT will relinquish that roadway to the city of Lebanon. And so that these are all kind of, we're talking hypotheticals here, but wanted to, as always we do in the podcast, this is kind of like a behind the curtain kind of just real talk type thing. And when we had the mayor on talking about the survey questions, a lot of them kind of organically are veering towards the whole maybe need for roundabouts. We're talking about traffic control. You're talking about bike and ped friendly, all those things, the safe and the ease of being able to cross this roadway. They all kind of bring roundabouts into the discussion. So I want to kind of clarify that, Craig, because we're not saying this is going to happen, but having that discussion about roundabout, because you mentioned a C word also, the Carmel. We don't want to be the next Carmel. That type of thing is what we see on our Facebook feed and the Insta stuff all the time. Not necessarily wanting to add as many as Carmel has, correct. But if they fit kind of the need of our city, maybe not being so fearful of them and installing them within our community. Yeah,
it's all about using the right tool at the right place, right? And that's where roundabouts can become that. And it isn't, they are not the end all be all, yet they are a tool that can provide great benefit on a corridor, at intersections. The other thing I hear so often is, well, you got to make them bigger so that then trucks actually the larger you make them, the faster people drive and the less safe they are. So there's that balance there too of you want vehicles to large vehicles to go through it. That's why we put those truck aprons on the inside. But you're right. It's about, we are looking simply at right now still at that discovery stage of we've pulled a lot of crash data, 4 years worth of crash data, find out where the hot spots along the corridor are, what type of crashes. It's not just where the crashes are. It's actually where the injury crashes and fatal crashes on the corridor. And then it's what type of crash was that? And so there's different tools we can utilize in the engineering world and transportation world to be able to address that, solutions to address the type of crashes you're seeing. And roundabouts happen to be one of those that take care of the right angle crash, which is usually that most severe. So it is a tool. It's not the end all be all, but they are a very good tool to be able to use.
And so keeping as is, medians, roundabouts, combination of them will, I'm guessing, all kind of be in the discussion as things progress along this NDOT City of Lebanon Avenue
correct
conversation.
Yeah. Ultimately, the goal is to come up with a concept plan that then we can understand the costs of, and then that's where it's not NDOT, you go build this. It's this is what we want to build, and NDOT, how can we help? How can you help us fund this through the relinquishment dollars that you provide to us? So,
gotcha. If people want to be able to kind of get in touch with you guys at Avenew, or they weren't able to get to the open house, and like, man, I really wish I could have taken my dots and put them on. What was it? Seven table
roll plot.
Roll plot. That's what it was.
Plot.
That's your new catchphrase, your new buzzword. Everybody to know your roll plot. If I didn't get a chance to do that, is there a way for them to reach out to the team to be able to do something along those lines, or is there another open house plan?
Well, we will probably follow it up as we now have received input from where the opportunities exist to improve. Now we go back and we will have different concepts. I believe that might be more of an online survey too of different concepts of various specific items on State Road 39 of what would you think about this? What do you think about this? So be on the lookout through most likely through your means, Joe, through the City of Lebanon's Facebook place or Facebook sites, and probably through additional surveys that way to be able to get some input and understand that not everybody, no solution is going to make there is no solution that everybody's just going to fall in love with. So it's balancing the good with the bad of all, and the impacts and reducing, minimizing the impacts, but increasing the benefits to everybody. Yeah. So
we talked about how it can be, that kind of divisive, the new kind of scaring, but at the same time, there were some that jumped in that said, leave it the way it is with NDOT, and people went after that person. So you mentioned it's not going to make everybody happy, and no matter what is chosen.
And as this goes through, most likely, if the relinquishment agreement were to occur, there's going to be federal dollars that are exchanged. And with that, there's going to be additional projects by projects come about along the corridor, because this isn't just going to be one big project, get it all done with. It's going to be various projects for multiple years. There'll be opportunities at every one of those for public input too. So the public is not going to be left out of the decision making now. They were just a critical part of the data gathering that we've been doing, and going to be a critical part of what we call the existing conditions of the corridor. It's what's what do the residents, the users right now, what do they believe and think about it? We get data that will But it's not just about data. It's also, that's a piece of data is what do the residents want.
And that was my next thing that I had on my notes here was timeline. So it's not going to be, once it's decided, it'll happen over a weekend. This will be
No, we're talking a multi-year.
Yeah.
Each project will take multiple years. And so, yeah, it would be, look at the long-term. What we're doing is creating the long-term vision. Gotcha. And then you're going to, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Mm-hmm. So that's what hopefully our goal is, to be able to have that plan of what
those bites
chunks,
look like.
What chunks do you take down at what time? So.
Okay. Craig, thanks for your insight and
Thank you.
Joining us this morning. I know this is a long process and one that is near and dear to your heart, because this is your community.
This is, so, yeah, I love it.
And so
thank you for having me.
Yeah. And everybody, thanks for listening to this episode of the podcast. We will keep you abreast of all the things, State Road 39, Lebanon Street, and beyond. Again, the survey link I'll put in the body of this podcast. So if you haven't had a chance to kind of get in and share your thoughts, you can do just that. For Craig and for Joe, thanks everybody. We'll chat again soon.
Thank you.